Good evening. We are entering a new, more drastic phase of this pandemic. The Premier is now set to place parts of the state into lockdown.
This, unfortunately, has been the soundtrack of 2020. With the coronavirus pandemic gripping the nation, it's a struggle to find a positive in times like these. However, despite the losses endured by non-essential businesses and workers, there may be some light being shone in our farming community, something that James Munro would argue is a well-deserved reprieve after yet another crippling drought.
Hi, I'm James Munro. I live at Gundabri, Merriwa, where we've lived for nearly 120 years. We are cattle and sheep farmers. We grow sheep for wool and meat. We approximately have 4,500 ewes and usually about 12 or 1,300 cows, but at the moment we're back to about 750 because of the drought.
The 2017 drought has been the worst rural New South Wales has seen since the 1930s drought, almost a century ago. Mr Munro studies past rainfall charts, saying that it shows you long-term rainfall trends.
So what it indicates is that there have been a lot of periods of drought.
During a drought as severe as this, a farmer's mental health tends to be compromised. The Centre for Rural and Remote Mental Health reported that since the 2011 to 2015 period, suicide has risen more steeply outside the major cities. If there is someone who can understand the full capacity of a farmer's mental state, it is indeed their partner.
During the drought, it's really hard. It's a gradual thing, so sometimes you don't notice it happening and then all of a sudden you get a shock when you've been away for a few days and you come home and you think, gosh, it's really desperate. Even though we're in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, which is really business as usual for us here because we're fairly isolated anyway, he is sleeping a lot, and I think it's catching up from those 3 years of mental and physical strain.
But when it rains, it pours. Gundabri has received 14 inches over the last 3 months, seeing the land do a full 180 from barren land to luscious green paddocks. This truly is the well-deserved break our farmers have been so desperate for.
I think probably quietly did have a few moments of celebration.
But excitement for the farmers doesn't end here. Whilst there has been a huge level of business closure as a result of COVID-19, it's business as usual for the farming community. Wool and livestock specialist Alexander Sesnick has seen some significant positives for the farmers like James Munro with rise in meat prices.
The wool market has taken quite a strong hit, with 80% of our product heading to China every week. We rely on the Chinese market and also the international markets for that, and having the stock exchange take such a huge hit in America, that's really put a dampener on where we are sitting with the wool market. The sheep meat market has been quite strong though, carrying through, so that's been really positive for growers to have that avenue.
With all the obscurity happening in the world at this current moment in time, there could be a few lessons to be learnt.
But I also think that it will help to open the eyes of a lot of those people that are removed from primary production to actually see how essential these systems are to their day-to-day living.
Whilst living on the land has extreme highs and lows, there is huge hope for the future of the farming industry.
I'm very positive after this year that things are going to get going again, and that the future of agriculture is really bright.